Hi, my name is Orpheus, and I've helped over 10 people achieve their goals in calisthenics. Here's a photo of me and a video of me doing 35 kilo pull-ups for 3 reps. This is actually a really good set. First of all, join Weightasthenics. We can hop on a free one-to-one call, and that's going to be really cool. You're going to get some really cool progress. So, the main limiting factor I've found from coaching about 10 people, right, over 10 people in the past, is their training program and their mentality of training. Their training program is basically a bodybuilder's program, okay? Because that's like, it's not your fault, right? This is probably where you're at right now. You're probably doing something like push-pull legs, okay? And why this is happening is because all the content nowadays is based around bodybuilding. And so, obviously, most people will end up with a bodybuilding program. And this is probably how you think you should also be training. You think that you should be training high intensity, low volume, right? Because this is a huge trend nowadays. But your goals are actually not a bodybuilder's goals. Your goals are probably maybe to like bench a lot, right? Your goals might be to do weighted pull-ups, okay? Your goals might be to do weighted pull-ups with like weight hanging, whatever. Your goals might be to do weighted dips, okay? Whatever. Yeah, let me try to draw that. Yeah, your goals might be to do weighted dips, okay? And so the contradiction here is you obviously train differently as a bodybuilder than a calisthenics athlete or as a powerlifter. So how do we fix this? We need to essentially fix your program, right? And that comes from your mentality behind training, okay? Your mentality behind training right now is basically a bodybuilder's mentality, right? You think that doing like low volume, high intensity is the way to go, right? So low volume and then high intensity. Why I don't think this is the way you should go about this is, I mean, obviously since I've helped a ton of people do this and I've also done it myself, right? But why I think you shouldn't go about this way is because you don't get enough practice, okay? You don't get enough practice for your skills, right? Because I consider stuff like weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, squats, right? All of these are kind of like skills and you need a lot of practice in them. If you train them like a bodybuilder where you just go for like 2 or 3 really tough sets, yeah, that's going to grow the muscle, but it's not really going to get you enough volume in, okay? Which is super important in strength because you need the practice of the movement, okay? Because if you don't get in that practice, your body, like, if you get in, let's say, 4 sets of squats in per week, right? That's not enough practice to get you to reach like 100+ kilo squats, okay? And so that's why we need to change your mentality around training. So the main thing, like I said, we need to change is your workout split or your workout routine. You're probably either on like push-pull legs, right now. If you're not, you're probably on like upper-lower, okay? Not to say these are bad splits, okay? But they're very like suboptimal for actually practicing the movement, right? Because let's say you want to get better at MPDS, okay? MPDS. MPDS is muscle ups, pull-ups, dips, squats, if you don't know. This is like basically street lifting, okay? And if you want to get better at these movements, doing something like push-pull legs 2 times a week, right? You're going to train pull-ups maybe 6 sets per week, okay? You're going to train muscle-ups maybe 6 sets a week, maybe 5 sets, okay? You're going to train squats 4 to 6 sets per week, and you're going to train dips also 4 to 6 sets per week. But if you change to a, like, what I like to call a movement-based split, right? You're going to get in a, let's say, maybe around like 10 to 15 sets for each of your exercises, right? So basically for your priorities. And so how you actually structure your training for something like this is a little bit complicated. You basically need to choose your priorities, okay? Your priorities. And you need to put them into a workout program. I know this sounds like kind of complicated, so I made an AI tool to basically do this for you. If you go to the description down below, right, down there, whatever, below this video, you can find this prompt for ChatGPT. Actually, I found Gemini works better, so that's like Google's AI. So paste it into Gemini, put it into thinking mode. Okay, this will like let it think for a little bit more time to give you a better answer. And take the second program, it'll give you two programs, take the second one at the bottom, and you'll see that this program is like a bit different from what you've seen in the past. It basically has like primary, okay? It has primary workouts, it has secondary workouts, okay? It has secondary workouts, and it has tertiary workouts. Tertiary. And so this won't make sense right now in the beginning when you look at it, but essentially this just means which workout has the most focus, okay? So that'll obviously be your primary workout. How you actually go about the workouts themselves is you basically have your top sets, okay? You have your top sets, then you have some weakness of the top set. So let's say you're bad at if we're talking about dips, for example, okay? If we're talking about dips, most people are bad at the top part, right? So when they're like about to lock out the dip, right, in this part, okay, and the dip bars are here, whatever, when they're about to lock it out, that's where most people are the weakest, okay? And so your weakness will be spending more time at the top part of the dip, okay? And this will also be by doing more dips. Then your compound will be some other, like basically any compound. This would probably be like incline dumbbell bench. I really like to do that. And then your isolation is once again going to be related back to your weakness, which is, let's say, the top part, right? You're going to do some triceps, okay? So yeah, this is how you actually structure the workout itself. I know this is a little bit like hard to like fathom like how you actually do this, because yes, it's a very different way of working out, but the main thing you want to look at, right, like we said before, is how many sets you're going to do per week, right? I didn't write that well, but you're going to do 10 to 15 sets if you do a program like this, okay? If you do a program like this, versus if you do a program like a bodybuilding program, you're going to do maybe like 4 to 6 sets per week, okay? Obviously much worse. So you don't want to do that, and this is the way to go, okay? You want to do 10 to 15 sets. And so if you want to do 10 to 15 sets, pick a program like this. If you haven't made your program itself yet, go copy the prompt, put it in Gemini, put it into thinking mode, choose how many days you're training per week, choose your priorities as well. For your priorities, right, it'll ask you for your priorities there in the prompt. So you basically need to choose what is your first priority, your second, and your tertiary priority. This doesn't mean you can only have like 3 exercises. You can have more, actually. So how you would go about this is, let's say you really like dips. Okay, so you put dips in the first priority. Then for your second first priority, you put in pull-ups. Okay. What this means that it's first priority? It basically means that you're going to train it 3 times per week. Okay. Then for your secondary priority, this just means you're going to train it 2 times a week. So this will probably be squats for most people, because training legs 2 times a week, like if you go to train legs 3 times a week, you're gonna like kind of like demolish your legs. So I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, so you just do your squats 2 times a week for most people. And if you have anything on maintenance, you put it in the tertiary. You probably don't have anything on maintenance, so most of your stuff will either be primary or secondary. So yeah, let's say if we want to do another secondary, if we really want to do that, you might choose, let's say, bench in this example, okay? You might choose bench. And how you choose how many exercises to do, right? You obviously want to choose how many exercises you actually like enjoy doing. Like if you don't enjoy these exercises, whatever, don't put them in the primary. Just choose whichever exercise you actually enjoy. But also, you want to choose one less movement than the amount of days you're training per week. So if you train 4 days per week, right? If you train 4 days per week, you want to choose 3 movements, okay? Because otherwise you just won't have enough time to do each exercise. It just won't really be that good. So essentially, the goal of working out in this way is that we do more sets, okay? And your primary workout will have the most sets, but then you also have your secondary, right? You have your secondary and your tertiary workout, as we can see here. But they're actually not like this. So for your secondary, you actually delete these 2. And for your tertiary, you delete these 2 again. But here, is going to actually be or. Okay, so you're going to do top sets or weakness. Let me just go about it from the secondary. So we already went over the primary, so I'll go over the secondary. So for your top sets, once again, you do the same thing, and your weakness. So you do both of those, since these are the most important ones, and the compound, whatever, and the isolation aren't that important. And so then you have your tertiary, so you do top sets or your weakness. For something, let's say, like dips, you could probably do the top sets, but doing like your weakness will probably be a little bit better. I would recommend doing something like really like focused on dips. So for dips, this could be like doing banded dips, right, to work at the top part. You can also do like ring dips. These are also really good for stability. So yeah, you basically want to just choose which of these you want to do. One thing I want to go over that you probably don't understand yet is the RPE, right? This term here. RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion. Okay? I'm not going to write the whole thing. But rate of perceived exertion, this is essentially how hard you think you push the set. Okay? So if it's RP 8 to 9, that means you have like 1 to 2 reps in reserve. Okay? Reps in reserve. And so why we use RPE is because this makes a lot more sense when you actually look at the sets that you're doing. So let's say if we have like 3 sets here, okay, and for each set you want to do 6 reps, okay? And we obviously want to keep the RPE, let's say, at 8 for these sets. You don't want to, like, we're specifying the RPE and not the reps in reserve because we want to keep, like, the intensity the same, obviously, for each set. And so we're actually going to drop the weight. So let's say if you do for the first set, right, you do 6 reps of 20 kilos, okay, let's say for dips, you do 6 reps of 20 kilos, and that's RP 8, okay? If you go and do 20 kilos for 6 reps on the next set again, that's probably going to go up to RP 9, which is not what we want. We want it to stay at RP 8. So what we do is we just keep the intensity the same, and we do that by lowering the weight, right? So we probably lower it to like 18 kilos. Then for the last set, maybe you drop it down to like 15 kilos, if that makes sense. To recap, essentially right now, you're training like a bodybuilder, okay? And your goals are different than a bodybuilder's. So we need to fix this by changing your mentality behind training, okay? And so we need to change your workout routine. That is the main limiting factor. So you move from a workout routine like push-pull legs or upper-lower to a workout routine which just does the movements themselves. And you do this by using the prompt in the description, and you choose whatever movements you enjoy training. Obviously, you choose however many days per week you train, and you put those into Gemini, put it into thinking mode, and let it do its stuff. It'll give you a really great workout program. I recommend you pick the second one from that, and you just use that basically, and whenever you go to the gym, you just come here and you're like, okay, for my primary workout, I need to do 3 sets for my primary workout for the top sets, I need to do this, and then for weakness, I need to do this, for compound, I need to do this, for isolation, I need to do this. This looks kind of messy, but you can go ahead and take a screenshot. I'm going to be here, thumbs up. Okay. Then for your secondary, you literally just do the same thing, but you cut off from these 2. Let me just make it clearer here so you don't have all of these notes. So you essentially do the same thing, just cut off from these exercises, okay? Then for your tertiary, you do this, so you do the top sets or your weakness. That is it, bro. Thank you for watching this video. I mean, I'm sure you got a lot of value, but I want to give you even more value, okay? So, how I want to do this is by you joining Weightasthenics. This is my free community, okay? Where you have 100 like-minded people like us working towards our calisthenics goals. And we're not only going to be in this community, right? You're going to have the opportunity to hop on to a one-on-one call with me personally so I can help you out with your sleep, your diet, or literally make your workout routine for you. So yeah, I hope to see you there, bro. I hope you be one of these people who got insane results. Like here you can see Navshan, who went from a 10 kilo pull-up, right? He added 20 kilos to his pull-up in about 2 to 3 months. Pretty crazy to think about. So if you want to be one of these people, go ahead and join Weightasthenics to see some insane results, be a bit more like me, or not, be a bit, better at whatever you want to do, and I hope to see you there, bro. See you, bro. Keep overloading. Let's get it.